Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on?
This is Tony.
And I'm Jenny.
And we are Lido Loca, and it's the Lido Loca podcast.
Yeah, it's episode 12.
Episode 12.
Wow.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
Jenny, it's been a minute.
It has been a minute.
Where
2
you
weeks.
been? You been on a cruise?
I've been on a cruise.
You've been on a cruise. It's been a fun and exciting time in the world of cruising and in the world of being a travel agent and in the world of making cruising content.
Ooh, lots going on.
Lots going on. Well, what we want to do today is we want to take a little bit of time and talk about our cruise on the MSC Divina.
Right.
And we just want to catch up with you guys, let you know what's going on with us, and really kind of talk a little bit about cruising. Is that a rigid enough setup for you, Jenny?
Sure.
Is that enough?
You're always enough.
No, we're not talking about me. I am always enough. Thank you so much.
Are.
So let's just talk about the MSC Divina. We took a cruise. This is our first cruise since we moved to Florida.
Yes.
How easy was it to decide to go on a cruise now that we live in Florida?
I mean, it was fantastic, right? Because now we don't have to travel, all those travel hours, and get a hotel if we want to, get a hotel if we don't want to. There's a lot of differences.
I'm not saying that everybody should move to Florida, but if you're interested in cruising more frequently, this is the first cruise that we ever took that it wasn't that much of a hassle. You know, we cruised out of Miami.
Right.
And previously, to cruise out of Miami, you had to commit 2 days to it.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a long drive from where we lived in North Carolina, and Miami's about as far south as you can go. I mean, you can go to the Keys and stuff like that, but it's about as far south as you can go, and it's a commitment. You either have to fly in there or you have to make a long drive to Miami.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, this time it was like there was less pressure, less stress, right, to get over there. And you know, like that last day, well, are we going to, can I talk about the last day already? Like that'll go by the whole cruise.
The last day of the cruise you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, like,
sure.
So that last day of the cruise, I'm usually panicking. I don't want to get off the ship, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? This time it was, okay, they're kicking us off. Let's go home. You know, because I knew we didn't have a 15-hour drive in front of us.
Yeah, a lot of times previously when we cruised, we had other commitments that we had to get back home for. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we wanted to get off the cruise ship as early as possible.
Right.
And then jump on the road and drive. But what was cool for us, the drive was only about 5.5 hours where we're from, or 6 hours, right?
Alligator Alley.
We had to drive through Alligator Alley. And so, now we chose to go to Miami and stay the night. We like to take advantage of the park and cruise packages.
Right.
And so we did go to Miami and stay the night. I think we got a room for just like $130, and then the parking on top of that was $5 a day.
Right.
Now, we stayed at the Red Roof Inn Plus. We heard this hotel recommended by another YouTube creator. It was right next to the airport. It wasn't the nicest hotel that we ever stayed at, but the hotels that were right next to the cruise port were $400.
Right. So for the price, the room was clean. I thought the grounds were beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? Like they have a nice pool area. They had a nice spread. We didn't enjoy the breakfast, but looked like they had a nice spread. They had free coffee and juice, and it was not bad.
It wasn't bad.
They had those food trucks out front. That was kind of cool.
They had food trucks out front, and you could tell it was a hotel that was older that had been renovated.
Right.
And so there was some cosmetic stuff in the room, but we were able to sleep at night and able to park our car in a secure location. Mm-hmm. That is one advantage. Now, interestingly enough, we didn't know this at the time, but there was a Hampton Inn right next to the Red Roof Plus. If you could have probably stayed at the Hampton but got the parking behind that gate at the Red Roof, that would have been the perfect combination, I think.
Perfect, yeah.
But it was fine, and we took a shuttle, and it got us to the cruise port. Now, interestingly enough, it wasn't the quickest embarkation we've ever had.
No.
We went on the MSC Seaside out of Miami a year before that, and that kind of took a long time, too. So even though it wasn't a lot going on when we went on the Seaside,
right,
it was still a little bit of a long embarkation. But this one had a couple extra circumstances. We were on a theme cruise this time, a holistic vegan theme cruise.
Yeah, that was different.
What's wild is you don't really know that until you get to the cruise for the most part. We found out a couple days in advance, but somebody had clued us in on it, right?
Yeah, someone had clued us in, and yeah, I mean, like, I would hope as well, right, that the cruise lines would let you know those kind of things when they do like a half charter or something like that. But I mean, it's probably better that they don't because many people wouldn't, book.
Do you think that would have? Now, I didn't have trouble with it throughout the cruise, but
No.
it did slow down the embarkation process a little bit because they had to give those people like extra lanyards and paperwork, that kind of
Right.
thing. And then, of course, there was another level of health screening on the embarkation that hadn't
Yeah.
been present before also.
They needed to know if you were hot.
Hot. They had we had to fill out a paper health questionnaire. You actually had to fill out the forms.
Right.
And then you had to walk through a thermal scanning station.
Yeah, so there was no lying.
No, yeah,
There was no lying,
there
there was no cheating.
I like that because previously you could just say, "Oh, I'm fine" or whatever, but this one they actually did your body scan, and they were looking for people that had high temperatures. It was pretty easy though. You just walked through a little, section of cameras, and they scanned you right there.
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
It was pretty cool, but it took us a little while. We went to the cruise port.
Good thing I wore my nice undergarments.
Why were you sweating?
No, I'm just saying, right? Like if they're doing a body scan.
I don't think it.
I know.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think it's
just
it's not an
teasing.
imaging scan.
I
don't
know,
think.
I'm just teasing.
I should have wore some undergarments, I guess, that day.
Commando.
That's a whole nother thing. Get to the chopper. Yeah, so that wasn't bad, but it did take us almost 2 hours to get on the cruise ship.
Yeah, it was a long embarkation. It was very, I don't want to say stressful, right? Because, we're going on a cruise. But it was a little stressful.
Yeah, it took a while. Now, one thing that we did this time to make it easier is we only took a carry-on.
Right. Each of us had just a carry-on and a duffel bag.
Yeah, we decided.
Well, a backpack.
Yeah, we decided not to pack a suitcase, but just to carry everything with us. So yeah, we both had a backpack on our backs, and well, the cool thing is we have those four-wheeled luggage, which we recommend to everybody, and so we could put our backpacks on top of those carry-ons and roll them around, which works well.
Right.
And then we had one other duffel bag, so altogether 5 items that we took on board, and that was pretty manageable, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like you had enough clothes for the week? We have that conversation.
I had
like,
more than enough clothes.
you didn't wear all your clothes.
No.
I didn't wear all my clothes either. So
No.
we didn't take really any formal wear, but we took, nice enough clothes, and we were able to get all of our toiletries and all that stuff in those carry-ons.
And listen, I like formal night. Like when we're in the group at the group cruise, it's nice to go with everyone, and sometimes when we're alone. But there's also times that I'm just like, you know what? I'm not bringing anything to go to formal night.
Right.
I just want to chill this cruise. I just want to, not get dressed up.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I guess we should talk a little bit about why we went on this cruise. We were having a little bit of the cruise blues.
Right.
We'd hit maybe 80 days since our previous cruise, and a lot had happened in our life, right? The job that you'd worked at for many years came to an end.
Right.
We relocated from North Carolina down to Florida. A lot of stuff going on that way, and it's like, wouldn't it be nice just to get on a cruise and just kind of do nothing, kind of chill? And that's kind of what we did when we saw this come up, and it was really reasonably priced. It's like, let's just go get on the cruise ship and just relax.
Exactly.
And it was also the time of our anniversary, which was pretty amazing that we got to spend our anniversary on a cruise ship. And so, yeah, that was the goal, was to get on and chill. Now, to get the low price, we booked a guaranteed interior.
That's correct.
And so if you're new to cruising, when you hear the word guaranteed, that means the cruise line gets to pick the cabin out for you. So regardless whether it's a interior or a balcony or anything like that, the cruise line is going to pick out your room. And that's a crapshoot, as you like to say. Yeah, you don't know. They could put you anywhere. And a lot of times they'll put you in rooms that don't sell very well, undesirable rooms, so that they can sell the desirable room.
Right.
And so we had a guaranteed interior, and we found out a little bit before our cruise that interior, where they placed us, was actually in a balcony cabin.
Right. An undesirable balcony.
Well, that's the question that I was going to say. This is probably, and it took a little while to unravel the mystery, but when we got to our balcony cabin, it was pretty small.
It was small, but it was a balcony.
Yes.
And it was the Divina. Well, we'll get into that, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was very pretty, but the when we book a balcony, one of the expectations that we have is that it's going to be a little more spacious than an interior, and that it's going to have a couch
or a seating area, right?
Yeah, somewhere to sit. But this thing was it was almost like they had just enough room for an interior room,
right?
But it was on the side of the ship, so they could have a little balcony, and so it was almost like an interior with a balcony. No, it was straight up a balcony cabin, but I'm saying that just so that you can picture in your mind, if you know what an interior looks like, just imagine they knocked out one of the walls and now you had a balcony. That's what I tell you what, I was on the Spectrum of the Seas in October, and I almost feel like my solo balcony cabin was as big as this cabin.
Well, our friend Don was on the ship with us, and he had a balcony cabin that was probably 3 of our cabins put together.
That's right. Now, I was waiting to surprise you guys with Dawn, but Jenny just let the old cat out of the bag. We might as well talk about it. On the run-up to the cruise, our friend, fellow creator, Don Terrace from Don's Family Vacations, he had been dropping hints that he might come on...
He's a hint dropper.
That he might come on the MSC Divina. The first time we ever met Don, he surprised us by coming on the MSC Seaside last year in February. And the way he drops hints was to act like there was no way he was coming.
Right.
So, and I hate to give away the tell, but...
Well, and listen, I almost felt like he wasn't coming on this, right? Like, we had gotten to our room, and I think we had gone and eat. Did we eat already? I can't remember.
Not dinner, but yeah.
Like maybe some lunch or something. Then we came back to the room, and, you know, we both had said to each other, well, I guess Don's not coming. You know, because on the Seaside, he had found us during Embarkation.
Yeah, we saw him very early in the process.
And this time, I was a little sad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, not that, you know, I enjoy going with, you know, you, of course, but I was a little sad, right? Like, why would he have dropped these little hints here and there?
Well, that's what I was going to say. So I'll give away Don's tell. Don doesn't normally talk about a lot of stuff. Now, I talk to Don a lot. But he doesn't talk about things that he was talking about before this cruise. And so he was talking...
Like what hotel you staying at?
Yeah. He was talking about things that kind of made it seem like it. But yeah, by the time we embarked, we went to lunch, we got into our cabin, we just unpacked, I think. We were in the process of unpacking.
Right.
And then the old knock comes on the door. And not 20 minutes before that, I did say, oh, I guess Don's not coming.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden, I think it's like, I felt like it was going to be room service or the room steward or something like that. And what a great surprise.
It was a wonderful
to
surprise.
see Don on the cruise ship with us. But yeah, to your point, he booked last minute. He paid a little more, right? He didn't go the guaranteed route. He paid more, and he picked out about, and this is the difference. So guarantee, we didn't pick out anything for ourselves. Don paid a little more and specifically picked out a balcony on the corner of the ship that was almost the size of our cabin.
Yeah, beautiful.
The balcony was almost the size of our cabin. Yeah. And he had a whole cabin on top of that.
Yeah.
Which had a couch.
With a couch.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I don't hate the guarantee. I know some people don't like it, but I'm willing to go with the flow. And we've had good experiences with guarantees.
Yeah, I mean, there was one time we were underneath the pool deck, but it was still fine.
No, it was a good time.
Yeah.
You know.
And listen, I was excited, right? We paid very reasonable price.
Yeah.
And we got a balcony.
Well, that's the thing.
And we spent a lot of time on this balcony.
And we did do a video on this cabin. I would recommend you watching that, especially if you're a fluffy cruiser. The bathroom on this cabin was real fluffy friendly if you're a larger cruiser. But the thing, a lot of people were saying, well, how did you book a guaranteed interior and then end up in a balcony? Well, what I think happened is that balcony wasn't really something that people were looking to book.
Right.
And so by moving us into that balcony, it left open another guaranteed interior, which is what people are looking for. So they put us in a cabin that probably wasn't as desirable as the guaranteed interior, and then they were able to rebook the guaranteed interior. So I couldn't figure it out in the beginning why we might have gotten the balcony, but I do think it was because it's easier to book the guaranteed interior opposed to that balcony.
Right, and you got to wonder, if they even rent that cabin as a balcony, right? Like maybe it is just for the interior guarantees.
Could be.
Because if I had purchased that cruise expecting a balcony and got that balcony, I would have been a little disappointed.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see like what class it's in or what
Right.
category. Well, I'm sure it's in
Well,
the
it's a Bella.
yeah, but I wonder, like, like if it's priced the same as the balcony next to it that's bigger, or if it's a different,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that
Yeah, I
out.
have to check that out.
Yeah.
But it was great. So you hinted at it. The decor on the Divina did not disappoint.
No, what a beautiful ship.
It was really beautiful. That's what so MSC is I believe they're based in Switzerland or
Right.
something
They're
like
an Italian company
But-
out of Switzerland.
Yeah.
Privately owned.
privately owned. And what's interesting is the dynamic of, like, say, the staff is different. The crew is really more like a European crew, where on other cruise lines you might have more of a kind of from the islands, those kind of things.
Right.
And so it's an interesting cruise ship. It was all decked out in maroons and chrome.
And gold.
The
It was just
Swarovski
beautiful.
staircase crystals. It was a really cool, modern looking cruise ship. But the other thing that's cool about it is because it has those Italian roots, it's kind of a coffee centric ship. Every bar had an espresso machine. They had a dedicated cigar bar, which I don't think that necessarily has anything to do with being Italian, but more being European. They had a an indoor spot where you could smoke, but it was a pretty cool cruise ship.
Absolutely.
What well, what place did you like the best on that cruise ship?
So on deck 6, I think it is, right before the casino, there's a little roundabout. I call it the roundabout. And there's a coffee shop in there. They play
Oh,
live
yeah.
music at night. I can't think off the top of my head what the name of it is, but it's right outside the cigar
Yeah, I
bar.
think they call it like a piazza or something like
Yeah.
it's a gathering spot.
Yeah.
That is a cool place. It has columns that kind of form a circle, and it's a circular room. There's a couple shops there, but the kind of the anchor spot in there is that coffee and gelato spot.
Yeah, I put up a little picture on our Instagram of it. It's just beautiful with the columns and the marble, and it's pretty.
It was pretty. I didn't spend a lot of time. Probably one of my favorite spots on there from the way it looked perspective was the jazz bar. It was so cool. It it was like completely
Psychedelic.
Yeah, it was completely modded out with the color and the decor. And I did see some Latin music in there. Let me just say this: on that cruise ship, you could get a lot of live music, which is really cool.
Yeah, I love live music.
Now, I didn't see a rock and roll band. I didn't see a country band, but I did see Latin music. I saw kind of easy listening. There was like a Beatles cover band. There was, people playing the violin. There was a piano player with a singer. But it was all the time. Like, you
Right.
could almost any hour of the day. Now, there was a kind of an R&B band that played out on the Lido quite a bit,
Right.
which was kind of interesting. What was some of your favorite things about this cruise, or MSC specific things?
MSC specific. So I think their entertainment is usually not to fail,
Yeah,
right? Their food in the buffet is fantastic. Their homemade breads and pasta. I just like I can't explain it. Like, I just like their vibe.
it does. It has a nice the feeling of it. Yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah.
That cruise lines, cruise ships, they all have their own personality. They all have their own vibe.
Yeah.
And I would say that this one's laid back. It's laid back, but there's a lot of fun to get into.
Yeah, and like the crew was just fantastic. Like Joyce from the sports bar, and just sweet.
Yeah, the sports bar was kind of neat.
We played the bowling. Did you win this time?
No,
What?
no,
Don has got to let you know.
no. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want somebody to let me.
I know.
All right, so let's work through it. We've talked about a lot of things. Let's work through it. The food.
Okay.
So you said you like the food in the buffet. I'm gonna say I don't love the food on the MSC cruise because I'm more of a main dining room person than I
Right.
am the buffet. But the food in the buffet to me was better than the main dining room. We had a couple main dining room experiences where our food came out cold,
Right.
which that's a huge turnoff.
Absolutely.
The food came out cold, but then we would go to the buffet, and the food there was hot and fresh
And just
and
delicious.
delicious. So it's a
So
mixed
bring
bag.
the buffet down to the MDR MSC.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to complain about it because we really enjoyed the cruise, but that would be one thing if I could tell somebody, just try to make sure that your food is hot when you serve it in the MDR.
And listen, we know, and we've said it before, it's a lot, right? Like in the MDR, it's a lot. And even on the seaside, our food was not great in the MDR, so we can't even say it was because of, it being charted out to the vegan club, but...
Do you think the fact that was going on, how much do you think it affected the overall cruise? We met some people on the cruise that were kind of bummed out because of they were on that themed cruise and they felt things were a little bit different.
And I feel like they were a little different also. I feel like maybe MSC could have handled some things a little differently. Like for instance, that couple that you're talking about, they had booked for early dining.
Right.
And at that point, MSC should have said, early dining is closed. You can either have my time or, the later. But they still booked them into that time. So when they got on the ship and they went to dinner, they were turned away.
Right.
That early dining was just for the chartered guests, and I just feel like they should have not booked anybody into that time so nobody would be disappointed. I do feel like, the buffet was, one side was vegan and one side was regular, but I just felt like more attention was put on the other side of the buffet.
The vegan side?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is once I realized that people were having a hard time, I started listening a little more. Mm-hmm. And so we met two couples, the couple that you were talking about, and then we had dinner next to another couple during the anytime dining.
Right.
And yeah, so that's a weird thing. So when they booked, they said they could have early dining, and they didn't tell them until they got on the cruise that early dining was dedicated to the special group, to the theme
Right,
group.
And there's a way to shut it off. They should have just shut it off.
Yeah,
people couldn't booked into it.
Just said, hey, there's nothing available. So I could see that being frustrating. But yeah, so half of the buffet was dedicated to the vegans, half of it was to the non-vegans. But even the vegans were saying the same thing that you just said. They didn't feel like they were getting enough attention on their side of the buffet. Like one day, their buffet, they broke it down earlier than the other side, so they felt like they were being disadvantaged. So it was kind of interesting to hear the kind of two sides going on the cruise ship.
Right.
And that's the first time we'd ever been on a theme cruise where so much of the cruise ship was taken over by this
the
theme.
theater, everything, right?
Yeah, it was really wild. It really did change. So part of the, I think deck 5 where customer service is, that was dedicated to like a bookstore. So it was like there was a bookstore there for the group, and then almost every venue was used as a place to have meetings. Like you were saying before, well, in between the evening shows, which is weird, most of the time the theater's empty.
Right.
So they would have the first show, say, at 7, and then the second show at 10:15. There would be a break where the theater would be empty. Well, almost every night there was a seminar going on in the main theater. And so, when we cruise with Don and I always like to go sit up front at the shows together. And so we try to get there early.
Right.
But on these nights where the theater was you had to wait until right before the show to go get your seat, which turned out not to be a big deal. This was the other weirdest thing that happened. There was good shows almost every night of the cruise in the main theater, 7 nights, and it was barely filled out. There was these people performed for almost nobody every night.
Every night. It was very sad.
It was so weird. So one of the things I really like about MSC from the Seaside and from the Divina is that the entertainment is good and it's different.
Right.
Right? It's not just like song and dance. They have aerialists and they have a variety. And so they had a huge crew of entertainers. Now, the one thing that's challenging is these guys worked every night.
Every night.
7 nights in a row. It was the same set of dancers, singers. But what was cool is they had such an eclectic mix of shows. So one night they had kind of an Italian-themed show where they sang Italian standards in Italian, but they also did like a mix of Dean Martin songs in there.
Yeah, that was
like
wonderful.
In English. So it was a really interesting show. It was an Italian-based show. And then one night they had a Queen tribute show, which was really cool.
Very good.
They had a show that was dedicated to Paris. And so they had like, a can-can dance routine. And then the last night they had this big show called Extreme, which was like a sports show, and they had people dunking basketballs, and they had
Right.
strength guys, and so top notch. If you're somebody that likes entertainment, both experiences that I've had on MSC as a person that entertainment's a priority for me on a cruise ship, I would have no problem recommending that at all.
No, and I had to sit up at the bar for the seating.
Yeah.
But it was just very comfortable. Everything was nice.
Yeah,
The theater's beautiful.
There were places. Yeah, the theater was definitely beautiful.
The whole ship was just beautiful.
So, and I didn't mean to skip right off of the food.
Fine.
We did try a couple specialty dinings. The PR department, very kind at MSC. They gave us some free internet,
Right.
and then they gave us 2 specialty dining experiences. We got to try the sushi bar, Galaxy Sushi,
Right.
and we got to try the Butcher's Cut steakhouse, which was nice. So again, there were some challenges. The Galaxy, I always applaud the cruise lines that find multiple uses for a room.
Absolutely.
So in the Galaxy restaurant, that thing is the Galaxy restaurant, the Galaxy nightclub, and that was also a place where they had seminars during the day.
Right.
And that's their sushi bar, but I don't think the kitchen is anywhere close
I don't think so
to
either.
that spot.
And let's just put we have to, so the beautifully decorated,
Yeah.
an amazing view.
Yeah, you looked right out over the Lido and over the ocean.
Oh, it was just absolutely gorgeous. And I think we were eating dinner around sundown,
Yeah.
and it was just beautiful.
But again, the challenge is our very first course was a miso soup.
Right.
And your first course is going to set the tone, and they set those soups in front of us after waiting for a long time.
For a very long time.
For a very long time, and they were cold.
About 40 minutes we were waiting.
Yeah, and
Just to get our first
and the soup was cold.
soup was cold.
So that kind of turns it off. Now we worked our way into the appetizers, into the sushi. The sushi was good, but the whole time you're sitting there going, "Wow, I can't believe
That my soup was
that
cold."
the soup was cold." But yeah, so that was nice. And then we had 2.
And they had, remember I had the green tea ice cream?
which you loved.
Whoa, it was delicious.
Yeah, which you loved. And then we had 2 of the steakhouse experiences. Our friend Don, super sweet, treated us to dinner on our anniversary night.
Right.
And he got us their chef's table experience, which basically it's not a traditional chef's table where the
Right.
chef walks through all the different meals. The chef just selects your meal. And so we were in the steakhouse, and they gave us a huge seafood tower, and we had crab cakes, and we had a wonderful cut of meat. It was a good experience.
Absolutely.
Plus, we were there with Don, which was
I
awesome.
was just going to say the company was even better. How lucky was I to have 2 handsome men next to me?
I would say quite lucky.
I mean, I was.
Quite lucky. And then on the final night, we had the steakhouse again, which was great. They had a kind of a set menu that you could order off of.
Right.
And it was good. I'm not running to the steakhouses on the cruise ships anymore.
No.
We've had some great steakhouse experiences.
But we've also had some great specialty dining much cheaper.
Right. I'm more interested from a specialty perspective now into those $15 restaurants.
Absolutely.
They didn't really have anything like that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, super appreciative that we got to try those things.
Absolutely.
And the food was wonderful in the steakhouse, but
And the service was fantastic.
service was great.
Yeah. Yeah, the service was definitely good. The maitre d' of there was wonderful.
Super attentive.
Absolutely.
And it was a beautiful restaurant.
I mean, yeah, the Butcher's is good. Galaxy was
You couldn't beat the view.
no. You have to give them a second chance on that. You know, hopefully they'll get better. Maybe it's new to that ship, but the view is absolutely amazing. The ambiance is beautiful. There was one thing I didn't like about it too much was that people can cut through it.
Right, people could walk through.
Yeah, and I just, I get they're doing multi-use of rooms, and that's awesome because it's a cruise ship and you need, you can't just, let's put an addition on here,
But you don't want people walking through your dining experience.
Right, especially when you're paying a little bit extra and,
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be happy.
No.
All right, Tony, so you touched on it just a little bit, right, with the internet. So MSC was gracious enough to gift us Was it 250 megs or
No, I think it was 6
600?
gigabytes.
Okay, I don't know. Tony's the IT expert. I don't know what all that is.
Yeah.
But we did go and purchase another package, right?
Yeah.
So I utilized one, you utilized the other.
Yeah, so MSC still has a setup where you can buy an amount of internet, and then they also have an unlimited package. We didn't know if we would run through all of the amount, and we were kind of worried about it.
Right.
And so instead of worrying about it, we knew we wanted to do some stuff on the internet. We just went ahead and bought the other package.
Right.
Package a little pricey. It's like $200 for the unlimited.
Right.
But again, because of that, we did have the two. Now, the package they gave us was for up to 4 devices.
Right.
So we could have run through
Quickly.
We could have run through the storage that they gave us, or the bandwidth that they gave us. But we just thought it'd be better to get that. And, the internet wasn't bad. It was usable, at least for me.
For you it was. For you it was good.
Yeah.
But for me it was not good at all.
Yeah, you had a little trouble trying to use the stuff on your computer
Yeah.
that you do for travel, right?
Yeah, my phone was fine most of the time, but to work on my computer was not good.
Yeah, so the experience, like if we're ranking experiences for internet, I think the Royal still
knocks
number
it
one
out.
for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
Princess though came out with that medallion. We'll be
Yeah.
able to check that out in June.
Right.
So who knows, right?
yeah.
But like right now, I would definitely rank it, Royal, Carnival. Princess wasn't good when we were on it last time.
I thought Celebrities Internet was good too.
Oh, Celebrities Internet was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just didn't work in our cabin,
Right.
but we were able to get really high speed out by the coffee shop.
coffee bar,
which
yeah.
was fine with me.
That worked out well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, it always comes back to food for me. There were some included food options. You mentioned that Piazza place. Part of that coffee gelato bar, they also had a case that reminded me of when we were on Princess. They had a case
Right.
of included food where you could get sandwiches and you could get sweets. That was kind of nice. Now,
Yeah.
that's going to be on one of my complaints. If you're comparing with other cruise lines for included food, they don't have as much. But the buffet was open a lot, and the buffet always had pizza.
And their pizza's great.
The pizza's really good.
Yeah, their pizza is like real, it's not those small little pieces, it's a real triangle piece of pizza with oil and, it's really good pizza.
Yeah, they definitely have anything to do with making bread down pat.
Absolutely.
The dough on that pot, every day they had fresh rolls, fresh croissants. It was...
And let's talk about their butter.
Yeah, I think, I didn't think I cared about butter, but this cruise made me think I might care about butter.
Yeah, they just, a lot of people say they don't have, a lot of option. I think they do.
Yeah.
They have a lot of different foods, different breads, different pastas, different sandwiches. They don't have an abundance of things on their buffet, but what they do have, they do it very well.
Yeah, and I think one of the complaints that people could have that's not unjustified is that the variety's not a lot.
Right.
From a day-to-day basis.
Right.
What you had yesterday is going to be basically the same thing that you have tomorrow. So every day you're going to get the fruits, you're going to get the pasta, So there's not other cruise lines will sometimes dedicate a whole island or something like that to a different kind of food, but it wasn't necessarily like that. Unless you count that whole half vegan buffet. I guess we could count that.
You can.
You can. But I didn't want to I didn't go over there much.
No, and you know what? Maybe they just stick to what they do well. Right? Because you got to think about it. When you have a variety of food, right? And we'll taste test some little things. They're not good.
Yeah.
So,
it opens up an opportunity to...
Excuse my language, but if you're going to put crap on a buffet and just say, oh, look at how many different options we have, I'd rather take the less options of good stuff.
Yeah, the quality over quantity is definitely one of those deals. What do you think? So interesting thing that happens on MSC Cruises is it's multicultural, a lot of different languages, a lot of people from different places. Did that leave an impression on you dealing with the captain or the cruise director?
I love it. I love all of that. I love the variety. I just love it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like that. I like the melding of all these different cultures, and so sometimes it gets to people. They do languages and announcements in like 7 different languages. The cruise director was German based, and so again, it's not the same kind of cruise director experience. She was pretty awesome though, but it's not the same cruise director experience that you might experience on other North American lines. But again, I do like that whole experience. I've talked about this before. The staff is really good, and they will help you as you engage them, but they're not overly in your face,
Right.
which I like that. Some people don't like that.
too.
Some people want people checking on them all the time. I only want help when I need help.
Right.
And to me, that's an MSC difference. Some people might call that rude or not great customer service, but I like it. I would rather engage customer service or people to help me when I need it, opposed to me constantly saying, no, I don't need anything. No, I don't need anything.
Right.
And so to me, that's also an MSC difference.
Right. And another thing, so on here with the, again, being a chartered ship, the casino was never packed.
Yeah, right?
Right? Like it was, I can get on any slot machine I really wanted at any time.
Yes.
Which also leads me back to I did not do well. I lost every penny that I brought, plus more.
Yeah.
But the casino staff was really nice, very attentive. And maybe it was because there was not a lot of people in there.
The cool thing is I kept you in your budget.
Yes, you did.
So
Thank you.
I mean, you did lose every session that you played for the most. Maybe you had one winning session.
I had one winning session, but then I, wound up losing that the next day.
But yes, the casino was cool. It didn't have the game that I like to play, so I didn't really gamble at all.
Yeah, MSC really needs to rethink getting a craps table.
At least for North America. I know it's not a big thing in Europe, but at least for North American cruisers, North American gamblers, craps is pretty much a standard in the casino.
If anybody from MSC is listening, really think about what
getting
we're
a craps
saying.
table.
Especially on the like you said, the North American sailings.
Yeah.
You have got to get a craps table.
It takes up a lot of space. I can see the resistance to it, but
yeah, but there's so much space.
It's a good game.
They had a lot of empty space.
Yeah.
That they could have put it in. So
what I like
think about it.
And a plus for that casino is it was half smoking, half non-smoking.
And I gotta tell you, even the smoking section was not smoky.
Not too smoky, yeah.
No.
So the casino was kind of interesting. So we
Craps table.
Craps table.
Even if they get a half craps table, don't they have such a thing? Don't they? I
Yeah,
thought we've
but
seen it
don't do
somewhere.
that. Yeah, don't do that.
All right, well, get the full thing.
Yeah, get
Get
the
it.
full thing.
Get it.
But it was a great ship. I tell you, one of the things that appealed to me on this ship is they had a lot of like kind of onboard activities that you don't see everywhere else. They had the F1 simulator.
Right.
They had the 4D theater, and of course they had the bowling in the sports bar.
Yeah, tell us about the bowling package that you got.
Okay, yeah. So the bowling package is a must because the bowling that they had in the sports bar was pretty expensive. So it was a kind of a
What was it, $8 a pop or something?
It was $8 for 5 frames. So if you know bowling, it's a 10-frame game.
Right.
So it costs $16 to bowl, and this isn't like full size go to the bowling alley bowling. This is a smaller version of it. Like you don't put your fingers in the ball or anything.
Excuse me for 1 second. Is it $16 per person or?
Yeah, well, it would be $16 per person. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So for 2 people to play 10 frames, it would be $32.
That's a lot of money.
And so what's cool about it is they have all-you-can-do package around the bowling, the F1 simulator, and the 4D theater.
Right.
And so I knew that I would bowl a lot with Don, and it's per cabin. And so I paid $90, and I got unlimited bowling, F1 simulator, and the 4D theater for both of us.
Right.
And
Good.
so that allowed you to bowl with us. But me personally, I bowled enough that if I would have paid for all the bowling that I did, it would have been $300.
Yeah, and I played a couple of games with you too.
You played a couple games, and then Don and I did all of the, there were 8 different movies in the 4D theater, which was really fun. And we did that. And so I definitely got my money's worth on that. I don't normally spend that much money. To me, I call that kind of an arcade entertainment purchase. I don't normally spend that, but on the MSC ship, it was on the Divina. It's very much worth it.
Well, you saved it from not having a craps table.
That's right. I saved it from craps table. You can usually make some money. But a great cruise ship, they had a water slide. So a good cruise ship for kids. They had a water slide. They had a big main Lido deck, and that thing
The
was
Lido deck is beautiful.
it was beautiful. It was popular. They had some Lido experiences that I'd never seen before. They had like a beer chugging contest.
Chug, 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 chug.
I know other cruise lines have belly flop contests, but I've never seen a belly flop. They had that. And they also had water polo in the pool.
Right.
Which is interesting. They did a lot of interesting stuff on that Lido. And then they had a covered pool area, which was just as nice. A lot of hot tubs, covered from the sun, nice indoor pool that was open to everybody. And then they had an aft pool that's like an infinity pool, where you can look out over the aft of the cruise ship. And probably one of the nicest smoking areas on the cruise ship was this aft bar that was next to the aft pool. It was like artificial grass. It was just kind of cool looking. Kind of reminded me of the
I
Celebrity.
never made it there.
I know, we didn't find it until late into the cruise. I was doing my ship tour, and I was like, wow, there's a whole pool back here that we should have been experiencing. They had a basketball court, like a sports area, but every time I went by there, it wasn't really basketball like you'd seen. It was either like yoga, or there was a lot of Zumba. They had a lot of stuff for the theme
Spin
cruise.
class, right?
Well, no spin class on the basketball court, but
Oh, I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
They did have spin class, though.
yeah, I didn't make it to the spa, but they had a lot of things to do in there, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. You know what I like, too?
What?
Like, wherever you would walk through, right? Like, all these little nooks and crannies always had beautiful artwork.
The art was really...
Yeah.
I never saw an art gallery. I never saw like an art auction, but the art in the hallways, spectacular.
Absolutely. Just beautiful.
Spectacular. A lot to like about the MSC Divina. A lot of people ask us, well, who is this cruise ship for? Now, I guess we need to touch on the ports. We didn't really get off the cruise ship at any of our ports. We went to San Juan, Puerto Rico, we went to St. John, and we went to St. Martin. One thing I do want to say about the ports is it does seem like they stay in port longer than other cruise lines.
Right. And Puerto Rico is usually at night when they go.
They go at night, but it was like, 7 or 8 hours.
Right.
And all these port stops were, 7 or 8 hours. Sometimes I've seen 5 or 6 hours on other cruise lines. These were all like 6, 7, 8 hours worth of port stops.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And the process, I did get off for just a brief moment in St. John to walk around a little bit, and it just didn't work out. But the process for getting off and on the cruise ship was pretty smooth.
So on that ship, is it process or process?
Depends who you're with. I think Don would call it a process. Our friend Don from Canada would call it a process.
Yes. So,
yeah, that process was really good. And then, I would probably recommend this MSC Divina for anybody that's looking for... I'm going to call it a not expensive cruise line. It's almost a budget cruise line.
Yeah, and I mean, they've run some great specials every now and then. Like right now, they're doing on selected sailings, pay for an interior, but you get a balcony.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's a great deal.
Yeah. And then they also have the ones with the free Wi-Fi and onboard credit in their drink package. And, speaking of drink package, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So we did not get the drink package.
No.
We just did, give us the book price, the lowest, let's do it, right? So the drink package would have cost us how much? $233.
The non-alcoholic drink package.
No, it would have included some alcoholic drinks.
Oh, really?
And soda and water.
Okay.
And the specialty
Did they have
coffee.
just a non-alcoholic package, or they just had that one drink
It was
package?
just that one drink package. So it would have cost us $233.
Per person.
Per person.
Yeah.
How much did we wind up spending?
We only spent $209 on the drink.
For both of us?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to kind of think of it like that, right? Now, if we would have had the package, I know I would have drank more.
Probably.
Like I limited myself. And that's fine, right? Like I didn't feel like I was like, oh, I need a coffee. I limited myself to like one specialty coffee a day or two, whatever. And then soda, was every now and then. We don't really drink a lot, so I didn't miss any of the alcoholic beverages. But, I probably would have gotten a little something. But
yeah, and I don't know who got more drinks, but I just got a drink anytime I wanted it. Like if I needed a bottle of water, if I wanted a coffee or a soda.
And we did have a lot.
I just got it.
Let's talk about those refreshment things, those coffee drinks that we got.
Yeah, like I said, this is a great coffee cruise. We got a variety of hot coffees. We got cold blended coffees.
Weren't those delicious?
They
I
had,
want one right now.
they had a variety of milkshakes. They have a lot of good drink options on now. Like everywhere else, they've got drinks that are included on the buffet. So they had iced tea and
Right.
But the buffet coffee was really good.
Their buffet coffee is
It
delicious.
seems like a brewed coffee almost.
It is just, it's really good coffee. And I love the fact that they have my creamer that I like.
Yeah.
The International Delight.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they have the best coffee.
They serve it in a ceramic mug also.
I think
Like,
that
you
is
can use a
one of my
ceramic-
favorite things.
I do like this idea. I'm not, I drink out of plastic and stuff like that.
Right.
But when it comes to drinking coffee, if it's not like out of a paper cup, I like it in a mug, not a plastic mug, like a ceramic mug, not a plastic mug.
Right, and I love their mugs. I really wish I would have picked one up.
Should have.
I should have. But their mugs are just, I have to get an MSC mug
You
next
gotta
time we
get
go
an
on
MSC
one.
mug.
We're going to go on their new one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to go on their new one.
Me too.
So I guess that's the big takeaway. It depends what kind of cruiser you are. If you are entertainment focused, if you're port focused, like if you want a long time in the port, if you like, I'm going to say this isn't your cruise if you're somebody that's all about the food. There's other cruises that we've been on that do have better food. But if you are an entertainment person, if you are a go-to-port person, if you're somebody that likes to party and get your drink on, there's definitely some spots for that. Mm-hmm. And then they do a good job even if you're a chill person and if you're a coffee person. And if you are cost conscious. I know a lot of people start looking at the cost before any of those other things. I think MSC is a great cruise line to try. Now, I do have a few things on my negative list, but
right.
I wanted to make the pitch that these negative things are not really that big a deal. The one thing I didn't like is they didn't have a good onboard app for tracking your stuff.
Yeah. Well, on the seaside they did, but on this ship they did not.
That's right. So it's not fleet-wide, which is troubling to me.
Me as well.
This is the first time I've been on a cruise where I couldn't put an app on my phone and see how much my balance was, look at the daily planner, all of that stuff. That's the way I like to do it. I don't like dealing with the paper. I don't want to highlight anything.
No.
I don't want to carry it. I finally started taking pictures of the daily thing and setting up reminders in my phone so that I could know when I was supposed to go do things. But yeah, that was frustrating. Just not being able to figure out how much our balance was that easily was a little bit of a challenge. You could see it on the TV, but it wouldn't even give you like a total. It would just list out your charges. And I like when technology is helpful to me, and I think they struggled a little bit there.
Yeah, not only the app, but their Wi-Fi. So, yeah, those were two negatives for me as well.
Yeah, and then the MDR food. I'm an MDR person. I like that better than anything.
That experience is always nice.
We tried it 2 or 3 times. We tried 2 dinners and 1 lunch, and I didn't come away from any of those experiences like, yay.
No.
So those would be my negatives, but not much else. We can't complain about the room because we said give us whatever room you want. And
I like the room.
Yeah, I like the room, and again,
it was cozy. I was closer to you.
I thought the cruise was pretty fluffy friendly too. There was a lot of places that you could sit if you're a larger cruiser and be comfortable.
Well, and their balcony furniture was fantastic also for that.
Yeah, balcony wasn't super wide, but we both were able to enjoy it and had a good time out there.
Yeah, two chairs and a footrest. It was nice.
2 chairs and a footrest. So Divina, would you cruise it again?
Absolutely.
I would definitely cruise it again. It was a good time. There's more to come on the Divina. Make sure you follow us on all of our video channels, the Lido Loca Cruise Show, the Lido Loca channel where we have our vlogs. I'll leave links to all of that in the show notes and in the description, and we'll actually show you what it was like on the Divina. Well, Jenny, that's the end of episode 12. It was fun reliving the Divina.
It was.
I'm ready to go cruising again, but it'll be a few months for us now.
Yeah.
Scheduled to go again in June.
We'll see.
Looking forward to it.
Something might come up before then.
Well, thanks everybody.
We have 2 kids graduating, so I don't know.
We do have 2 kids graduating. That's pretty exciting. Thanks everybody for stopping by. We appreciate it. Again, my name's Tony.
And I'm Jenny.
And we are Lido Loca. And until the next time.
We'll see you on the Lido.
We'll see you on the Lido.
Bye.
Bye.